Welcome to our webinar, Employers' Legal Risks from its Remote Workforce and How to Address Them. This is part 2, the Insurance Perspective. Hosted by Brandywine Technology, with presentations by Jason Clarke with Williams Insurance Agency, and Katherine Witherspoon Fry with Offit Kurman, who you saw in our part 1. A little bit about Brandywine Technology. We offer over 20 years in the IT staffing services business. We're proud to be recognized as the staffing company that sets the standard in providing technical talent in the region. Our reputation and relationships span from small business to Fortune 100 companies. We provide you talent for your short-term, long-term, or permanent placement and offer you more than the depth of our extensive candidate network. We bring a technical perspective and knowledge of the skills to provide you with better IT people. A little bit about our presenter, Jason Clarke. Jason is the Small Business Unit Manager and Assistant Marketing Manager for the Williams Insurance Agency. Williams Insurance is an independent, full-service agency serving all of Delaware and the surrounding area since 1948. While Jason primarily focuses on the commercial insurance side of the business, Williams Insurance can assist with personal lines, employee benefits, and life, annuity, disability, and long-term care. Jason has over 8 years of property and casualty insurance experience and has been with Williams since 2014. Since Williams Insurance Agency is an independent agent, Jason is able to work with over 50 carriers locally, regionally, and nationally. Jason grew up in the Wilmington area, graduated from Salesianum High School, then graduated from Penn State University with a degree of business marketing. He is recently married and lives with his wife in Philadelphia. I'm going to turn it over to you, Jason, for your presentation.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Kristen, thank you for the fantastic introduction, and we are excited to be here. I represent Williams Insurance Agency. As Kristen mentioned, I am on the commercial side, but we do have over 50 employees with 2 offices covering the entire state of Delaware and then the surrounding areas as well. So very excited to be here, very excited to present today. As you can imagine, it is an ever-changing world from the workers' comp side of things with everyone in a new environment, working remotely, people looking to maybe scale down or even get rid of their office space. And then also people are just having to deal with things a little bit differently from the workers' compensation world. Everything's different, whether you're Salesforce or you're somebody in the office. So a couple of things that I just wanted to cover today. You can see them on the screen here. They are my employees covered while working remotely? How can I, as an HR manager or a business owner, create an in-office safe environment or help my employees to do so? Will a claim be covered for an injury that occurs not in the workplace? What if I'm a Delaware company but have employees that are now working remote in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, or other surrounding states? Is my workers' comp carrier or agent helping me to better understand the new working environment? And then should I explore a work from home as permanent solutions? So these are just a couple of the topics that we're going to cover. I will get into a little bit of additional information, and then I do have a couple things that we can provide you with at the end of the presentation. If you contact me, Kristen will share my contact information and we can go there. So we will move on to the next slide, please. So the remote employees, the question, are your employees covered when they're working remotely? The answer is yes. Obviously, there are most of workers' comp losses that do occur in the workplace itself. But as you can imagine, depending on the type of operations that you have anywhere from an in-office employee that may be out on the road. You may have a salesperson that's out on the road. And then you also will have somebody that now is working remotely. So the answer is yes, across the board. Now, every insurance claim, every adjuster, everything is on a per claims basis. So when I say that, it doesn't mean that it's a blanket yes, but in terms of somebody being covered for a claim that occurs out of the workspace, that is true. One of the examples we always give would be if you have an in-office employee that is your office manager and they're responsible for going to the post office 3 days a week to pick something up, and they get into an automobile accident while they are performing a job duty that is in their created jobs, roles and responsibilities. That claim, 99.9% of the time is going to be covered. Again, just a blanket kind of Explanation, everything happens on a per claims basis, but in general, that employee is going to be covered if they're working on hours. They are doing something that they have been requested to do by the employer. One of the things that you can do, and one of the things that a lot of our carriers, and one thing we're doing at Williams Insurance Agency especially, is helping our clients, helping our insureds in creating that new safe remote work environment. So it's not just leaving your employees to kind of create a work environment however they please. You certainly have the ability, and we certainly suggest that you provide them with as much learning material and as many suggestions as you can to help create that safe work environment. So one of the things we actually have is a checklist that we can provide you, and we have provided our clients with a couple of tips and tools, and making sure cords aren't in the ways, and making sure that, you know, if this is going to be a more permanent solution, it's no longer, you know, back in March or April when everyone was kind of scrambling to work from home and everyone's working from a kitchen table or working from a bedroom, really trying to help create that safe work environment so that your employees, one, feel like they're being supported, because support from an employer certainly leads to less workers' comp claims. And then obviously the safer the work environment, the safer it would be. You certainly create safe work environments for your employees. Now you're helping them to create one at home. Another one with that is creating a more comfortable environment as well. It would be maybe talking about providing them with a, you know, office chair at home, providing them with a second monitor. So again, they're feeling that support and they're feeling like you are there to help them do their job efficiently, but also understand that things are a little bit different and you are changing with the times to help create that. One of the other things with the comfortable office chair may be neck pain, back pain, things like that that we maybe wouldn't have thought about that we are seeing from a claims standpoint. Now, not all of those are going to be covered, but they are certain things that we are seeing as people are working from home. Another one is providing some guidelines on a work-life balance. Obviously, that's something that most companies try and pursue and push to their employees, but now more than ever, with people working longer hours, with people not maybe getting up and going to lunch, not having those other work colleagues around them, we really want to stress and help our clients to stress that work-life balance, because again, a happy employee is somebody that's tended to work with their employer rather than becoming disgruntled and maybe filing a claim if something should arise. The other thing is encouraging your managers to take some leadership roles and have some one-on-one meetings with employees. If you are somebody that's having group meetings, one of the things we find is people maybe aren't as comfortable saying something in a group environment. So maybe schedule a bi-weekly or, you know, maybe even once a month, have your manager meet with their direct reports, meet with them even in more just a relaxed environment, see what's going on, see how they can help. Again, supporting your employees is something that we find really helps in creating a happy work environment and then less claims. Next slide, please. So the next question we had is the employees working in different states. Obviously, Delaware is a little bit unique in the way that it's set up with 3 other states surrounding it. And as we all know, if you're in Wilmington, you can probably be in 4 different states within 25, 30 minutes. So you certainly have a diverse work environment, and you may have employees coming from different states, and now they are working remotely. So you may not have thought to have to schedule Pennsylvania as a state on your policy, because you only have 2 Delaware locations. Well, Pennsylvania is a different state. As we all know, workers' compensation is something that's seen by each individual state insurance agency department, or Department of Insurance, excuse me, and then also each state has their own rules and regulations from the Department of Labor. So one of the things that we're telling people to stress is if you do have people working consistently remotely and they may be in a different location, talk to your agent, talk to them and see, hey, now I have a couple people that are used to be in the office. Now they're working from Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Is this something that we need to talk to the carrier about? There's no across the board answer. Every carrier is dealing with it a little bit differently, but it's certainly something that we suggest you do and get engaged with your agent and have that conversation. Make sure that you're being proactive rather than reactive should a claim occur. As I have here on the slide, one of the things you will notice is most workers' compensation policies have what they call an all states endorsement. So even if a state's not specifically scheduled, a claim would be covered. And the reason for that is you may have salespeople that have to fly. You may have people that are traveling to different states without necessarily knowing their schedule. And it's not something that you have the time to call your agent and go, hey, I have a salesperson that's going to go to New Jersey for the next 3 days. I hope they're covered. So you will find that there are 4 monopolistic states that I have listed here. Each one of those, you actually have to get a separate policy through the state insurance department. So if you do have any questions on that, again, I will share my contact information at the end. Feel free to reach out. But when you do have the work at home environment, I can tell you, you can rest pretty easy knowing that most likely your employees are covered. But again, the best thing to do, have a conversation with your agent, have them get in contact with the carrier and see what tools and tips they can provide you. As I mentioned, every claim is on a case-by-case basis. Documentation is always key. We at Williams Insurance provide all of our insureds with a specific claims loss explanation form, and it's something that we give to either the HR manager, the owner, whomever kind of handles those workers' comp claims, not just specifically to workers' comp, but especially in the workers' comp. Documentation is key. Having all of that information ahead of time, having it documented, having the ability to reference it always makes a claim go smoother. Another one is report a claims situation or scenario to your agent. That's why they're there. Don't feel like you have to call the carrier. If you have a question, your agent should be that first line of communication. That's what they're there for. That's what we're here for. I always tell my clients, if you have any questions at all, if you think there's even a possible claim scenario, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's get our claims manager within the Williams Insurance Agency on the phone. Let's get everything documented. And then if we have to file a claim down the road, at least we have everything in the time, in the moment of what happened. And then again, working with your agent. I mean, most agencies probably have some type of claims reporting procedure and scenario, but every business is different. Make sure that you're working with your agent so that it's the best opportunity for you. Next slide, please. So some of the things we talked about are moving forward. What does this look like down the road? People are looking to maybe downsize office space, looking to have people working remotely, or maybe going back to some of that either in-office community workspace. So you may have people coming in Tuesday, Wednesday, and then other people coming in Monday, Friday. So just a couple things that we've seen from a agency standpoint, and then we've actually reached out to a couple of our carriers to kind of get some pros and cons. So obviously one of the pros is increased productivity. As we talked about, people are working. You want to maintain that work-life balance for sure, but there is certain productivity that comes with working from home. People maybe feel a little bit more comfortable. They feel like they can sit down and not have some of those in-office distractions that you find. Another pro is talent acquisition. This is certainly something Kristen and Brandywine Technology can talk about, but now that you have that work from home capability, you may be able to go out and find talent that's further than 60 miles from your office location. There may be somebody that maybe comes in 1 day a week, and now that they can work from home 4 days a week, they're much more willing to take a look at different opportunities. So talent acquisition is certainly something that we find not only are we seeing in terms of new hires, but also maintaining. Improved employee morale. One of the things that we do find here is a supported employee is much more happy, much more productive, and much less likely to file a false claim, or maybe a claim where an injury didn't happen. That's not to say that every claim is false and there won't be certain ones, but you do always hear about that person who maybe got injured on Sunday and they're really disgruntled on Monday morning. They come in and now their back hurt because they threw it out in the warehouse, but really they were playing tackle football or got hurt doing something around the yard. So improved employee morale is certainly something that we see really helps from even those false claims, because even if a claim turns out to be false or something maybe isn't covered, it still takes your time, energy, and money for someone to do the research. And then again, with that improved morale is the decrease in claims. Some of the cons are hours of operation. If you have somebody that is working remotely in California, but your business hours are East Coast time and you're 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., that is something that you maybe find a struggle with. It's not a fit for all employers. Let's just be flat out honest that not every business and operations is or has the capability to allow their employees to work from home. So that is certainly something that you have to take a look at and see what works best for you. And then a lot of it also goes to the taxes, data security, internet access, hardware, software, some of the things we talked about earlier, of providing your employees with the ability to maybe have a second monitor. That may not just be in the budget this year. That may not be something that you can do for all employees. So those are just a couple of the things that we have people kind of take a look at because 2020 has just provided us with a different outlook on what a work from home environment looks like. Next slide, please. Some housekeeping tips. So again, we can go back and I'm more than happy to share my contact information, share the checklist that we have, but it's certainly something that we found are improved from not only that work at home morale, but also lack of claims. You wouldn't believe the amount of claims we've seen coming in from tripping over the dog to tripping over a computer wire to even a house fire because an employee had 7 different outlets all plugged and all using all of the different wire space that they could because you have a cell phone, you have 2 monitors, you maybe have a Surface or a tablet, something like that. So creating that checklist, again, is just something that's really going to help your employee feel, one, supported, but also make sure that you, as the HR manager, as the business owner, are doing the best to provide them with as many tips and tools that they can use for a safe work environment. No different than the environment that you're providing when we were maybe back in 2019 and things were a little different and everybody was coming to the office 5 days a week. Again, hosting a webinar, just providing tips and tools for mental health. Anything that you can do. I mean, there really is a difference here of mental health now becoming a question of whether it's covered under workers' compensation. There's not enough data or claims examples here, but we do have people that are maybe looking at having to put in a claim for depression or mental health issues because we just don't have all the support and we just weren't all prepared for this. Another thing that goes along with the mental health is, making sure your employees are taking time for themselves, maybe encouraging them to take an afternoon off or, again, having your managers just check in. Having a happy work environment, we find, is number one in terms of normally how claims are handled or how willing an employee is to work with their employer should a claim occur. The providing additional support. I can't stress it enough. Anything you can do to make your employee feel like they're being supported, whether that's work from home, whether that's being more flexible with them, or maybe, again, it's just a manager checking in on them, talking to your managers. Not only do you have to worry about those direct employees, but managers are in a very different scenario now as well. They maybe aren't used to. Maybe you have a sales manager that isn't used to having 15 employees all working remotely. They're used to having them there in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, and they're able to check in. So providing different styles and techniques to your managers will also help, and all of that runs down. If your HR manager or your sales manager are working and they're happy, it's going to lead down to the employees as well. And then one thing we always stress is check in on your employees, not on your employees. We all know everyone's an adult. Everyone should be able to work from home, and really having somebody not feel like they're being checked in and babysat, but rather just someone's checking in on them to make sure and see how things are going will certainly go a long way. Next slide, please. All right, so that wraps up kind of my presentation for it. As I said, here's my contact information. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Email is normally the best way, but even if you do give me a call and I'm not able to answer it, everything comes right to my cell phone. Leave me a voicemail. I'll be more than happy to get back to you. If you have any questions on some of the tips, the checklist, anything like that, be more than happy to do it. One of the other things I would say is if you don't feel like your agent has provided you proactively with any of the scenarios or tips and tools that we've done today, or they haven't had that conversation about how do I cover my employees that are working from home and things like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to discuss all of that. As Kristen read, we are a independent, but we are a service-based agency. Our clients and insureds are number one, first and foremost, and we're here to provide them with the best coverage that we can.
Thank you so much, Jason. That was great tips and a lot of good information from the insurance perspective. And we do welcome your feedback. As you can see, again, my information's there. Jason's information is there again. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Jason is the primary point of contact for the insurance. So thank you for attending the webinar. and have a great day.